In Travelin, you want to score the most points by visiting countries, and when one player visits 5 countries, they will trigger the game end. Each country has 2-letter initials which relates to the map. To travel around, you need to take a bus, a train, or a plane. Buses allow you to go one stop, so I could go from Finland to Norway, or Finway to Norland, obviously. I could use a train to go 2 stops, or a combination of a train and bus to go 3 stops, and an aeroplane lets you spin around in the air before crashing horrifically into the sea. I'm only joking, it lets you go anywhere. There are also action cards you can play that to give you various actions. Look at this cheeky fella, let's get rid of that. No one wants to see that, mate. On top of that, country cards can also be used for a one-time action, which then turns them round to show they've been used, but they still score at the end of the game. In general, cards that are harder to get to score more points. Travelin was a pleasant surprise. I often say that about games which I'm not sure whether I'm going to enjoy or not. The reasons I thought I wasn't going to enjoy this one is because it seemed more like, from reading the rules and just looking at the art, more like a kind of Uno style game. And I guess in some ways it is Take That, so that would apply, but this is much more enjoyable, much more different. There are a few problems. The rulebook is good, it's written well, but it doesn't convey the feel of the game, and I guess that's often the case of a rule book. But in some games you've got like the components to attract you in, the artwork. You know, the artwork's fine, but it's not. It's mainly flags and drawings. It's not, hugely engaging, I guess I would say. But the rulebook counters that with some nice level humour. What I mean by that is they've aimed it at a nice level. They haven't tried to be too obnoxious, and it just comes across well. And I think it's almost because the rules are so simple as well that you kind of think, well, there's not much here. However, there is a good little game here, a game of puzzling out how you're going to make your way across your 5 destinations and score the most points, because destinations that are connected to more destinations are worth less points unless they have a reasonably good power on them, and destinations that are harder to get to are worth more points. So do you take one of the rarer aeroplanes to a corner destination but then you have to fight your way back across, or do you stay safe in the middle and try to finish quickly? The Take That cards work well, they interact with the other players, they do the kind of things you'd expect, but they fit within the nature of the game and the theme of the game. The other bad thing that I mentioned at the start, and it's a difficult one because it's hard to know how to do this better, but in the version I've got, and there is being a second version printed where they handle this a little bit differently, but I would think from having a look at it, it would still be a similar issue that I'd had, is that the countries all have a 2-letter kind of quick reference symbol, and on the bottom of the cards it has all the other 2-letter initials that you're going to look for that are 1 space away from that card. And then it's on a map as well, but it just takes quite a while to find your initials on the map, even if you kind of know where it is. Then work out, right, I'm here, I want to go 1 or 2 away, without kind of showing your hand to other people. You do have your own map each, which I appreciate, but it did just feel a little bit too clumsy. Having said that, I play a lot of games, and I have no idea, without making a massive kind of map with the full names on and bigger routes, which would then turn this into not a card game, how you could do that better. And maybe some colour coding as it gets bigger and further out, maybe the further ones being coloured differently so you've got a quicker kind of reference point. I don't know. I haven't found a good solution. Despite that, this is actually a solid filler game, where you can play a couple of rounds, a couple of games in half an hour and have a really good time. It works best at 3+, and I probably wouldn't play it at 2+. just like I wouldn't play many Take That games at 2+. While the artwork is nothing fancy or special, it is perfectly fine for the game. A lot of it is flags. I like the way that it just has a little bit extra to other fillers of this kind of nature, in that you have the travelling, but you also have the flags which you've collected, which you can then use for a powerful one-off power without losing the points. I think the balance of the points and the distribution of the points is good. There is luck in the game. There's luck in all card games, luck of the draw, and you are going to play some games where someone just, on their first 4 or 5 turns, or even less, because some let you travel to multiple places at once, get those 5 cards out. But more often than not, you're going to have cards that can stop them, that can steal from them, that can change the game up, that can let you win even if you don't get your 5 flags out first. So, Travelin is a solid filler game that will appeal to gamers for those moments in between games where you're looking for something short to play, or at the start of the night before everyone's played there, or even with their family with a little bit of explanation. I wouldn't be able to play this with my 8-year-old at the moment, just because of that finding stuff on the map would be a bit too much for him as he is now. Some children are not going to struggle with that at all, and some adults will, like we did, so it's just one of those things. So, rulebook. The rulebook's fine, if a little underwhelming, but balanced out by some nice application of humour. The intimidation factor is low for the most part until you get to that map, where the intimidation factor comes up, where you're kind of like, right, where's that? Where do I need to get to? How do I get there? How do I do that without showing my hand to my opponents? Fun factor, yeah, we had a lot of fun playing this, more fun than I was expecting. Every time we played it more than once, which I think says a lot. Would I add it to my collection? This one will just miss out on being added to my collection, just simply because I'm being told that the floor is not a place to store games anymore, and I have to either get rid of some games or find some more cubby holes around the house to hide them in. So it just misses out because of the nature of my collection. Would I play it again? Absolutely, without hesitation. Would sit down and play this game anytime I was offered. Would I recommend it? Yeah, I would recommend it, and I would give those caveats to people. Mainly not about the rules. I just say, just play it. Read the rules and play it. Don't just read the rules. But also I would give the caveat of a slightly fiddly map system that I see no way around. So that is Travelin. Thanks very much for watching Board Deck and Dice. We will see you next time.